Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us to experience IT's agentic transformation. I'm your host, Diane Mizoda, here at Salesforce headquarters. Now, you've told us you're ready for what's next in the world of IT service management. Well, the future is here. Welcome to Go Beyond ITSM with Agentforce. Today, we're going to show you how Agentforce IT Service can solve your biggest ITSM challenges with truly autonomous agents. Here's what's coming up. We've got 2 product announcements to get you using AI agents in minutes, not months. Then we're going to check out live demos showcasing how Agentforce IT Service transforms the way your employees and IT teams work. Plus, customer insights. We'll hear how the CIO of UNESCO and Milestone Technologies are using Agentforce IT Service to improve employee support journeys. And then it's all about you and answering your IT questions. So go ahead and put those questions into the chat. We've got experts standing by to answer them. And we're also going to take some time to answer questions live from the desk in just a little bit. And right after the broadcast, stick around for hands-on training. You're going to learn step-by-step how to set up your own AI agents for employees and IT teams in our virtual interactive workshop. But let's dive in. First up, the man leading the charge, my fellow Bruin, our SVP and GM of Agentforce IT and HR Service, Dr. Muddu Sudhakar. Hello, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane, for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. Now, you've been in this space, IT and AI, for 25 years, and you've seen multiple ITSM launches. And I understand you're here with 2 big product announcements for us today, right?
Yes. First of all, again, thank you. I'm very excited. I want to show the audience how to build an agentic enterprise with IT service. So with this first, I want to give a kudos to our teams, both our engineering team, product team, sales team, across the globe. We have like hundreds of people working on this our product since last 2 years. We had a great announcement at the Dreamforce last year at October. And I also want to thank all the customers and partners who have helped us to create this Agentforce IT service. Without their feedback, we won't be able to create a creative, innovative product. So what is Agentforce IT service? It's an agent-first, conversation-first, powered by agentic workflows, proactive 24/7 service. It is used by IT teams, employees, to resolve requests and incidents faster and sooner. It is available for all organizations, SMBs, enterprises, mid-market, and commercials. So we have 2 great announcements today. First, we are announcing IT Domain Pack. The Domain Pack is designed to have 25 plus AI agents, subject matter agents. It has 100 plus workflows, 100 plus service catalog items, and 200 plus connectors. So this Domain Pack is designed, Diana, for partners and customers to build, deploy, operationalize agents quickly, easily with connectors. Customers can take this to modify them and use it so that they can move from legacy enterprise ITSM systems to Agentforce IT Service. That's a Domain Pack, and we are very proud to announcement of that. The second one is multi-agent orchestration. We talked to a lot of customers, hundreds, CIOs. We did customer advisory boards. We did a lot of research. 2 feedbacks that came out very clearly. 1, employees want a single agent. Think of like a super agent. They want one agent to orchestrate across all the problems, needs, etc. IT teams want a subject matter agents so that they can go to the right agent for the right tool and right problem. So we are announcing multi-agent orchestration, which can route from a single agent to multiple subject matter agents. That's the second announcement.
I love it. So like having an IT team of specialists at your fingertips, plus that agent to orchestrate it all for you. I'm sure people are going to love that. Now, you've seen pretty much every iteration of the service desk. Why is the traditional model just not working anymore?
Very good question again. Look, if you look back again, the IT service industry has not innovated, probably maybe little innovation in the last 25 years. Now, the whole ITSM legacy is stuck in the old internet age. I call it portal to ticket to form era. Employees are frustrated to opening up a ticket or filling up a form and wait endlessly. That frustrating process is what people want to solve. Same thing in the messy middle, which I call the IT teams. They're stuck because they have to go through multiple systems, use old outdated articles, do manual root cause analysis, manual workflows, and not able to solve the problem. ChatGPT has been here for 3 years now. Imagine what customers are saying. Show me the value of AI. Show me how AI and LLMs can solve my day-to-day work, my workflows, etc. And that is what we are trying to change in this new age, in this model.
Now, you mentioned the ticket. Now, for so long, the ticket had been the gold standard of service, and now that might feel like a bottleneck. Let's talk about the future of ITSM. Is the ticket dead?
No, ticket is not the problem. The issue is how do you handle the tickets? Actually, Gartner came out with a very good survey. 80% of the problems and tickets and incidents, they're saying by 2020 will be resolved without a human in automated manner.
Wow.
We obviously say, look, our mission is human in the loop to solve AI and agents, but the goal of what they're saying to solve that problem is very important. How do we deliver that? The only way that can happen is people have to move from what I call the forms and tickets to conversations. They have to move from making sure that the what I call the IT teams can use it to solve automated root cause manual workflows to automated agentic workflows. Employees who are frustrated, they need to move from frustrated experience to a agentic experience, app experience. Finally, multiple disparate systems to a single unified stack. That mapping has to happen. And until that happens, we won't see this revolution happening.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that IT leaders who are watching, they really care about how to operationalize, especially when it comes to security. How does Agentforce IT Service change the game for that?
Yeah, first actually step back on this. What we are doing there is we are actually offering 4 pillars there. Our fundamental pillar is IT Service Desk. That includes incident, problem, change. That's a core flagship for us. Second is AI Agent for employees that you mentioned it. We are also doing AI Agent for teams that offers you proactive solutions for IT Service Desk. Fourth is our agentic CMDB Discovery Service Graph. Combining all of this, what we have done is providing a security, trust, and guardrails with a responsible AI. We want to deliver, as Mark Benioff calls it, humans and AI agents working together. We want human in the loop for escalations, approval, so that we don't have a rogue agent problem. So in essence, what we want to create is an agentic AI command center so that people can manage this securely in a trusted manner and able to offer a safe environment for organizations.
A complete trusted platform for organizations of many different sizes. Now, let's say I'm a CIO or an IT director and I'm planning my year, what are the benefits of Agentforce IT Service?
We're offering 4 non-negotiable benefits. First, making the requests faster and sooner, faster solutions, so that you can go from any problem to this within days to minutes and seconds. That's number 1. Second, we want to offer people to reduce costs, offer them ROI. How can they reduce costs in terms of resources, in terms of licenses, etc. Third, delighting employees, offering the time to value, productivity. Last, quick, easy deployment and upgradability. These are the 4 fundamental principles of Salesforce that we're delivering with Agentforce IT Service.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for setting the stage for us. We're going to hear more from you in just a bit, but right now it's demo time. Let's see Agentforce IT Service in action, and I'd like to welcome Annie Weinberger, CMO of Agentforce Service, and Alex Kong, Senior Director of Solutions. Hey guys, welcome.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks for being here. Now, Annie, I understand that you hear firsthand from customers what they're frustrated about, what they care about. Let's talk about the way IT supports teams and why does this need to evolve, especially now?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk to a lot of IT leaders and they're really laser focused on productivity. The problem is they've spent these decades building these very complex portals that unfortunately employees just hate using. We've all been through this, the employee experience, you're doing your work, getting a bunch of stuff done, and then you run into an issue. Maybe there's some system that you don't have access to. So you have to leave the application where you're working. You have to go to a portal. You have to navigate a really complex catalog. And then you wait. It's not a great experience. And to the CIO, productivity really isn't just about convenience. It's a huge strain on the bottom line. The forward-thinking IT leaders we talk to, they want to help employees where that conversation is happening in Slack and Microsoft Teams. And so to see this in action, I'm going to hand it over to Alex to show you how this works in Agentforce IT Service.
Thank you, Annie. So I will now show you how Agentforce IT Service delivers out-of-the-box AI agents in Slack and Teams to meet your employees where they are and supercharge their work. So meet Jennifer. Jennifer is in Slack, and she's needing to get onboarded to a new project. She's a software engineer, and she'll open up a conversation with the collaboration agent. And she's going to ask for help with her onboarding tasks. The collaboration agent is going to pull up her user profile first and confirm that they're talking to the right person. And they will be able to later on pull up her team information, the status of her onboarding tasks, and proceed from there. So this looks good to Jennifer, and she can confirm that, yes, her reporting manager is Matt Davis, and she is a software engineer here. And the collaboration agent is going to pull up the appropriate materials and documentation for her to get started. First, it's going to come back with a Slack canvas, and Jennifer will be able to check that out and confirm the onboarding tasks that are on her plate. All right, so if we go and check out this onboarding canvas, we can see that it contains the key channels that she needs to join in Slack, as well as those email distribution lists. And so she can ask to be added to those, and later on get access to the GitHub repositories. So the collaboration agent at this point is going to orchestrate her request with the appropriate tool calls. You can see on the left side all of the channels being added in real time. And the collaboration agent is going to summarize what it did, including the addition of the distribution lists. So if we refresh her email, we can see she's been added to those as well. And now it's time for code. So code is going to be a more gated process, and it's going to require manager approval. So Matt Davis, which we saw as her manager earlier, is going to be looped in once she makes this request. First, it'll pull up the popular GitHub repositories her team uses, and she can make a selection. And at this point, it will create a request object in the IT service desk for tracking, and as well loop in her manager, Matt Davis. So we can switch on over to Matt Davis's screen, and we'll be able to see the request object and a proactive notification coming in for Matt Davis directly in Slack. So he can approve the request and run this workflow to get her up to speed. He can finish, and if we go back to Jennifer's screen, she too will get a proactive notification letting her know that her access has been approved. So if we scroll down, and we should get a notification, just a moment, from the approvals agent. All right.
You can tell
there
it's
we
real.
Go. Yes.
It's live.
This just came in just now, and she has access. Her request has been approved. Perfect. Now, let's go and check this out in Microsoft Teams. So we have Joni, who's joining a new sales org, and she needs access to the opportunity links. So she can start a conversation much like we saw in Slack inside of the Salesforce IT Service app, which is employee-facing. And she can ask the access management agent to help her get up to speed as well. She can confirm her information, and she'll be getting an email with an access link to her Sales Cloud instance. And you can hear the email coming in. We can go check it out and quickly reset her password. And just like that, a very secure password, she can get access to Sales Cloud. Perfect.
Wow. Okay, so Annie, does that demo basically encapsulate the difference between a chatbot and an agent?
Exactly. You saw that Alex/Jennifer didn't just get a canned response. The agent actually understood the context of the role, checked permissions against a trust layer, and then executed a multi-step workflow across very different systems, all without having to leave the workspace. You know, if you require an employee to wait 24 hours to get access to a software that they need, that's thousands of productivity hours lost every year. But by shifting the work to where they're actually doing things in Microsoft Teams or Slack, you aren't just resolving the tickets faster, you're removing the hurdles entirely so your teams can focus on their work. And equally important is how this impacts the bottom line.
Right. Muddu, is there anything you'd like to add?
Wow, this is the great demo. Like if I see this, and this is what I call the nirvana for software developer. Most common issue for every software engineer across the globe, they want to get access to GitHub, they want to make sure their work is done, and they're not stuck. Managers are responding to everything as I see it is they're staying in the flow of work from Slack and Teams and getting done. Awesome demo.
Absolutely. Now, Annie, you mentioned the bottom line. Let's talk about cost savings.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that 80% of an IT's time and budget is spent on low-value, repetitive maintenance. It's expensive, it's manual, And it's why the average cost of an IT ticket has ballooned to over $20, even for the simplest tasks. But the biggest cost isn't just the cost of the ticket. It's those hidden costs of a change gone wrong or a major incident that wasn't caught early. Agentforce IT Service doesn't wait for the user to complain. What it does, this is very, very cool and new, it analyzes the incidents in real time and manages the changes directly in Slack or Teams. It's best to see this in action, so I'll turn it back over to Alex.
Awesome. So now I will show you how Agentforce IT Service brings those same out-of-the-box agents to support your IT teams. So meet Jason. Jason is also in Slack. He's in his IT support channel, and he's looking at a My Assigned Incidents tab, which has a custom view for him to see all of his assigned incidents. You can see a Salesforce list, which dynamically is synced with the backend, and we can see the incidents coming in real time. So he wants to resolve these incidents, but instead of resolving them one by one, he wants to resolve them agentically. So here he can ask an incident analysis agent to please give him an update on these incidents. And that agent is going to pull the appropriate data and metadata associated with these incidents and summarize it for him. So once it comes back with the summary, we can see the 5 incidents are going to be given in a nice summary here. So there's 3 open incidents on his plate and 2 are resolved. And we can actually open up this incident from the service desk, or into the service desk rather, directly from Slack. So we can see all the information here, and we're constantly adding new features here. So if we open it up in Slack, we get a 360-degree view about the incident. We have the employee information, we have all of these tabs, including related CIs, which we'll show in just a moment, and we have this proactive assistance widget, which contains the agentic proactive assistance, such as the likely root cause based on cohort analysis and clustering. In this case, we can see there's a compatibility defect in the latest Zscaler client connector update. And we can also see proposed resolutions. And here, the proposed resolution is to roll back to a stable version. If we go and check now the service graph, we can see the blast radius for affected CIs. And the Zscaler client connector is showing a symptom of frequent drops. And as we saw in the proposed resolution, it's possibly due to a version issue on a downstream app. And so Jason at this point perhaps has enough information to come back and conversationally resolve those incidents. He can provide some information based on his investigation, and the incident analysis agent can take that information, resolve the issue, and update the incident resolution statuses. So if you go back to the Salesforce list, we can see it, once it syncs with the backend, they're marked as resolved. And we can go and check out the resolution notes, which were populated by the agent right here. And this is great. It's all in Slack. We offer the same thing in Teams as well. So this is what it looks like in Teams. We can also sync this with the backend and check out the same incident and see the same resolution summary that was created here.
Thanks so much, Alex. So what you probably noticed is that this is not the standard way to manage an incident. The AI agent didn't just suggest a fix. It actually performed a proactive incident analysis to find the root cause before all those Me Too tickets started rolling in. In an agentic world, your service desk really becomes your command center. It's automating change management and handling incidences autonomously. This means that you're not only saving those $20 per ticket costs, you could be preventing a multi-million-dollar outages that occur when manual changes go sideways. So in 2026, this is how you scale an IT organization. You don't need to hire more people to just close more tickets. You can do it by deploying agents that will solve those problems before there's even flagged.
Fantastic. Muddu, what's your take?
I get excited every time I see these demos. There's a lot of innovation in this. First, we showed we can work in Slack and Teams. Second, we showed IT service desk, next generation, with proactive assistant. Right? That's what Alex and Annie are talking about. The proactions will give you automated root cause analysis. It gives us proactive resolutions. This is what makes the unsung heroes of our time, the IT teams, the SREs, DevOps, those people, we want to make them the heroes. So using AI for them to make them, this is truly the next generation agentic IT service.
So exciting. Well, Muddu, Annie, thank you so much. And we're going to see one more demo a little bit later on. Plus, we're going to answer some of your questions live. So go ahead and post them in the chat. But right now, we're going to talk about the human side of IT. Let's hear how these tools are actually making employees' lives better and driving real delight across the enterprise from a customer who's actually using Agentforce IT Service. RJ Janendra, SVP of Product Management for Agentforce IT Service, had the chance to catch up with the Chief Information and Technology Officer at UNESCO, Omar Beg. Take a look.
Omar, thank you for being one of our first customers and congratulations on going live with Agentforce IT Service. We're very eager to hear about the journey and how your employees are responding to the new solution. But first, for those who may not be familiar, can you tell us a little bit about UNESCO?
Hi, RJ. Sure. UNESCO is the agency at the United Nations that's responsible for promoting global peace and security, working with our member states, focusing specifically in the areas of education, science, and culture.
So wonderful. So as CIO of a world-class agency with 68 offices, what were your challenges with the legacy ITSM and that pushed you to consider a change?
So over the last 5 years here, and that's been about the time I've been at UNESCO as well, I noticed that our business has been getting very complex, obviously with world events and some of the challenges that we've been dealing with. And the support for our users globally also has been more complex. And our current ITSM, or I would say our former ITSM, was just not geared to support the users. It was not providing them with the right experience. It was taking a long time for them to actually have issues resolved, mainly because of the way information was flowing through it. And for myself, I was not able to get the right metrics to be able to see how that part of my business was responding.
So being a Salesforce customer influenced your decision. Was there anything else that tipped you over the edge in choosing Agentforce IT Service?
Certainly the simplicity from a user experience side, and the fact that it offered also easy integration with other components. But importantly, having line of sight to the key metrics with one click, and be able to see what's going on in real time.
Wonderful. So now that you've been live for a little over a week, what has been the feedback from employees now that they can resolve incidents with a very simple experience?
In a way, I have to say I wasn't expecting this, but users have been keen to spend time in the system. And this is really at the initial stages of the functionality, really looking forward to having them spend more time in it once we activate the knowledge base, which I think would be a big winner. So overall, great feedback so far.
All right. And so one final question.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give to another CIO or IT leader when they're thinking about changing their ITSM?
I would say thinking a little bit out of the box. It's not a traditional way of servicing, certainly. I do believe that with the introduction of AI now in the tech world, leveraging agentic is absolutely key. So I want to, of course, congratulate Salesforce for really taking a lead here. But I would also suggest and advise CIOs that thinking out of the box implies looking at the service management space holistically and not just on IT. One of the things that I'm going to be advocating is how do we integrate service catalogs so that we are able to provision IT services alongside other services. And that to me is really part of that thinking, so that we're solving not just one problem, but multiple problems in one go.
Okay, wonderful. Omar, congratulations again on going live and a great start. And thank you for your partnership and look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you again, RJ.
Thank you so much, RJ and Omar. Muddu, what are your thoughts?
I love this thing. Look, Omar was one of my first customers when I talked to him as we were launching the product. And first of all, thank for Omar to make this happen. He's what I call ideal customer profile. He's a Salesforce customer. He told me that he met Mark Benioff 25 years back. So he's with Salesforce community for 25 years. He had a problem with existing legacy ITSM. He wanted to make it agentic. And he deployed it. He went live in like less than 45 days. And it's the world's biggest UNESCO, right? That's what makes us really excited. We want to solve these problems.
Yeah. And Annie, let's talk about scale. When you're operating at a scale like that, I imagine it's not just about closing tickets, but it's about making sure nothing stops the workflow, right?
It's true. And, Omar is not a traditional CIO most CIOs don't wake up every day thinking about how to delight their employees. They do, and they should, and we love them for it, think about risk and scale and uptime. But what the team at UNESCO has really done is note that these are intrinsically linked. So if your systems are hard to use, your employees will go find those workarounds, and that could open up some big security risks. Also, if your systems are slow or your ticket times are too long, that productivity just halts. So this is what CIOs are really thinking about, how these are linked together.
Thank you. All right. Well, we've talked about the why and the what. Now let's talk about the how fast. One of the biggest fears in IT is that dreaded multi-year migration. So to show you how Agentforce IT Service is shattering that timeline, once again, RJ Jainendra sat down with Abhishek Siva Subramanian from Milestone Technologies. Now, Milestone is unique. They use Agentforce IT Service internally and also implement it for brands around the world. Let's see how they're moving at warp speed.
Abhishek, good to see you. Thanks for your partnership and for speaking with us today. And congratulations on taking your first customer live. I think it was a very short period of time. Now, for those of us who may not be familiar with Milestone, could you tell us a little bit about the company?
Yeah, so Milestone Technologies, are a Salesforce implementation partner. We've been in the space for 15 years. We play across multiple Salesforce products like Sales Service, Agentforce 360, Data 360, and as well as the ITSM space.
Okay, wonderful. Now, you've had a very unique experience deploying Agentforce IT Service, both as a customer and a partner. So can you tell us a little bit about your internal implementation and how it influenced your deployment playbook for your clients?
Yeah, so when we decided to embrace Agentforce IT Service, we were very clear that this is not a lift and shift exercise, right? We are not going to bring all the old style of working into the new platform. Our key focus was to identify all the critical use cases that we want to address on day one. What will empower requesters and fulfillers? How can we reimagine the CX, the customer experience? And our implementation here in Milestone Technologies was the perfect test ground. It allowed us to leave the customer experience firsthand because we are the customer, we're the partner ourselves. And we were able to identify what really drives speed and adoption, how to simplify change management, so that it's a very seamless transition into an agentic conversational experience. These insights became foundation for our delivery playbook. So when we work with clients now, we are not just deploying technology, we are applying real world lessons from our own success story.
That's fantastic. And so Milestone is known for fast deployments. And using your Agentforce 360 accelerator, how much faster can you get a customer live on Agentforce compared to the traditional 6 to 12 month ITSM migration?
That's a great question. Almost everyone asks us. It's the unique combination of the experience in the Salesforce full stack, almost every product that we have, deep skills that we bring on Service Cloud and Agentforce 360, our ITIL certified professionals bringing in 15 years of implementation best practices in the ITSM space, coupled with our accelerators on Agentforce 360 enablement. So all the topics, instruction sets that we have created as packages within our practice. And also on top of that, our data and AI practice, building a proprietary migration tooling to migrate data and files from any traditional ITSM platform into Agentforce IT Service. So it's just a button click for us. We took our first Agentforce IT Service customer live in as little as 8 to 10 weeks.
That's amazing. And with more implementations, it's just going to get faster.
Absolutely.
Great. So now we've heard that AI agents will eventually resolve 80% of common service issues, which is a game changer for companies. So what are the top 2-3 use cases you recommend customers to first automate to immediately see value?
To enable this, our blueprint was identify all your high volume use cases, right? The things that bother people a lot. The use cases that bother employees, that bother IT teams. How do we reduce all these kind of problems around high volume and cognitive load? That's the first factor. The second area to really scope in your Agentforce IT service implementation is the classification and the routing. This is a very age-old problem that we almost have. Almost everyone has it. So how do you bring in automation to classify and route incidents and service requests faster with more and more accuracy? How do you bring the cherry on top of the cake, which is the AI, right? Agentforce with prompts to automatically understand, classify, route with speed and consistency. The third aspect is the knowledge-based resolutions, which is the case deflections, right? How can AI agents surface the right articles, perform guided troubleshooting that can enhance the self-service dramatically? So I believe these 3 use cases, if you can bring it in your scope, it'll deliver measurable ROI faster and also build internal confidence in AI-driven service operations.
And so last question now. So if you could give one piece of advice to a CIO who's thinking about deploying Agentforce IT Service, what would it be based on your unique experience both as a customer and a partner?
I would say treat it as a transformation, not a migration. This is not a lift and shift. Agentforce IT Service redefines how service operations will run, will evolve, will scale. So we're moving away from all those email, portal, ticket era into a completely new experience, which is agentic and conversational. And I think the CIO's biggest opportunity is to reimagine those processes with AI at the core, not replicate legacy workflows.
All right, Abhishek. So thank you for your partnership and very excited for the road ahead and look forward to many more successful customer implementations. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the conversation. It was great talking to you, RJ.
Okay, bye now.
Bye.
Awesome. Now, Muddu, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, this is like, again, back to ideal partner profile, like Milestone, what they have done, both implementing, buying the product for themselves and implementing it. This is like how exactly we want to see a good partner. He talked about how they are using Agentforce Data 360, Agentforce Platform, Mule for Flow, Agent for IT. This is what the entire stack, single unified stack, this is what I mean by implementing Agentforce IT Service and migrating from a legacy to an agentic world. So great job by Abhishek.
Yeah, and Annie, hearing him talk about how they went live with that playbook in just 8 weeks, I'm sure that's music to everyone's ears. Why has deployment traditionally taken so long, and how are we now changing that trajectory?
I mean, it's just been the way that these legacy systems are built. They take, Abhishek and RJ went over this, average 12 months. The problem with that is, which we're kind of like not speaking about, but that by the time you're ready to go live after a year, the business has changed probably 3 times over. So as Muddu talked about at the beginning, we've tried to make this really easy. It's a #1 pain point for our customers. So we have our IT service domain packs. They're preloaded with all the logic, data models, and workflows for the 25 most common IT use cases. And with Salesforce Go, we've simplified that setup process. This is what Milestone was really excited about, that they can get the guided experience to let them get started with just a few clicks. So Alex, can you show us exactly how they did this so fast?
Sure. So let me show you how fast it is to set up an agent and also show you Salesforce Go. All right, so we're in our Agentforce Agents page, and let's go double click on this software access agent. The software access agent we can open up in the builder, and we can see the various topics, connections, and data comprising this agent. Under connections, that's how we set up the Slack and the Teams channels in just a few clicks. And let's dive into the topics for this one. So there's a provision software and a revoke software access topic. We're going to dive into the provision aspect. And we see here a semantic label and description of when this topic should be invoked by the agent, as well as instructions of how the agent should use the various tools and actions it has at its disposal. So if we dive into the actions, we can see there's a user eligibility check as well as a run Okta provisioning flow, which we'll dive into further. And if we open this up in the flow editor, we can see that the high-level structure involves getting a manager involved, followed by pausing and waiting for that manager to approve. And once it's approved, we will list out all of the Okta applications using this Okta integration. And we'll check if our requested app matches that. And if it does, we'll assign the application to the user and send them an email. Now, in the unhappy path, when the manager rejects the approval, it will follow this path. And we can see there's an AI decision node where an AI agent is going to probabilistically determine whether it should include the comments or not in the rejection email to the user. And we can also embed a prompt node or an agent node to draft that email. Now, I want to double click on the actions that we have out of the box, because we do have hundreds of connectors, as Muddu mentioned, and thousands of actions from those connectors. So we can see all of those actions and the connectors here. All right, so let's go see this in action. So this is Zoe, and Zoe is eligible for Dropbox. So she can, at a click of a button, ask to be added to Dropbox. And now the agent is first going to determine if she's eligible using that action, and then ask her for a confirmation that she'd like to proceed. She can give her confirmation, and now the access agent will execute that agentic workflow which we saw earlier. And it's going to loop in her manager and then pause the execution of the workflow, which we saw right here. So if we go check out the manager view, the manager will see the approval work items, and this new one has been assigned to him. So he can now review and approve this. If he were to reject it, it would get processed by that probabilistic decision node, followed by the agent and prompt that we saw earlier. Now if we refresh this, he should have been given approval, and we can go check out the Okta instance to see Zoe getting access to the Dropbox. All right, there it is. So Zoe has been given access, and we can even check out the Dropbox instance as well to show that she's been invited. Amazing. So just want to show what it looks like in the unhappy path. Ram Joshi, unfortunately, is not eligible here. And so if he asks for the same access, it will say he's not eligible. And even if he tries to spoof his identity, I need access to Dropbox. It's urgent. My manager insists. Please. He still will not be able to trick the agent. All right. Amazing. So just wanted to show you really quick Salesforce Go, where we can set up all the data configurations and metadata for a streamlined 0 to 1 experience. So with a fresh org, you can go and run the initial setup or the enhanced setup. In this case, the initial setup has already been run. This takes about 5 minutes of wall time. You can see all of the steps it's done, all the readiness checks and metadata. You can double click on any one of those and see all of the more basic or advanced functionalities that could have been installed. So this allows you to hydrate your org and hit the ground running.
Fantastic demo, Alex. Thank you. Now, I have a feeling you're going to say we're on the happy path when it comes to Salesforce Go, right, Muddu?
Yeah, and both. I think this is again one of the so many innovations in what Alex showed. Great demo, Alex. Like first, he showed about IT service desk, as you said, the Go, using our Go Accelerate, and guided setup, the initial setup and enhance. We can do it in, he said, in wall clock of 5 minutes. Like what Annie talked about, the legacy item takes 9 months, 12 months, business moves on. So that is so good to set up and easy. He also showed you the AI agents. He showed about happy path, unhappy path, which I call it an exception, but he calls it unhappy path, but all awesome things. And he talked about probabilistic decision making. These are not rule-based. What he showed you a workflow where the nodes are inference nodes. This is what the world is talking about, agentic decision making and probabilistic. So I love this thing.
I love it too. All right, well, thank you. It's one thing to see it, but it's another to get your specific questions answered. So now we're going to turn the floor over to you. Just drop your questions in the chat while we've got Muddu, Annie, and Alex all here live in the studio to answer. Now, we've already had some questions come in about IT, Agentforce IT Service. So first one is for you, Muddu. Is there a longer list of Agentforce use cases beyond the use cases being shown today?
Absolutely. Look, if you actually look back, whether you're an SMB, mid-market customer, all the way to enterprise, I've been watching this thing for the last 15, 20 years. They're usually the top ticket drivers, I call them, or top incident drivers. There are usually 10 to 15. They are your account lockout, password reset, software access, application provisioning, network reset, file collaboration. If you can go down the list, they're like 8 to 10 to 15. That represent 90% of all your requests and issues. And we are supporting that with close to 25 plus agents in the domain pack.
Love that. All right. Now, Annie, how is IT Service different from Agentforce Service, aka Service Cloud, formerly known as Service Cloud?
The artist formerly known as Service Cloud is now Agentforce Service. Agentforce Service is the suite of service offerings that we have, and it is the most broad and complete suite of service offerings out there. It includes their customer service, contact center, field service, and employee service, which is IT plus HR service. So IT plus HR service is a subset of our service offering. It's all run on the same Data 360 Agentforce platform and all connects across every types of service experience that you can have at your company.
Great. Well, Yuan from Salesforce Plus has a question for Muddu. How do you suggest the organization switch from ServiceNow or Zendesk to Salesforce Salesforce Agentforce IT Service? Which product or use case would be the first to adapt to make sense from an ROI perspective?
Very good sir. Very good question. So I think the best way to start, and we've been seeing people moving from legacy ITSM systems, migrating the data, starting with IT Service Desk, our product, using our AI agents for IT teams and employees, and our CMDB Discovery Service Graph. All three of them are offered on day one. So migrating the data will be the starting point, then migrating the workflows, implementing the catalog items, and then finally using the AI agents to automate the work. That's what I'm seeing to how we deploy, whether you go from legacy IT system or buy a brand new.
All right. Well, Christopher on Salesforce Plus wants to know, how does the IT service and HR employee service relate in the ecosystem?
Very good question. Again, look, the way in which it's happened is before we launched IT service, we launched HR service. Our own Salesforce customer have been asking us to do, as Annie talked about, as a part of Service Cloud. We wanted to move them from Agentforce service to HR service and IT service. Employees want to be in one place to answer IT and HR. I'm not going to go to a different place to talk to Diane about my HR needs and PTOs and IT issues. They want one place, and that is our long-term evolution of how we move from IT service to enterprise service management agentically.
Love that. All right. Well, Jessica on Salesforce Plus has a question. How do teams balance agentic automation with human oversight early on to avoid trust issues while still seeing real ROI?
Very good question. I think this is more on the security and trust. I think, look, security trust is top of mind. When you implement it, make sure that you are putting permissions, ACLs, system access, like Alex showed about the Okta permissions, or whether the underlying system, whether it's a Workday, whether it's any other system, SAP, making sure security, trust, guardrails are provided. We always implement human in the loop. Remember we talked about unhappy path, making sure exceptions are handled. So I think whatever meets your organization's requirements, putting those things in your agentic workflows, in your agents, so that the trust, security, responsible AI is the number one reason that we want to deploy.
Absolutely. And our final question, can I integrate IT service within my existing systems?
Absolutely. Look, I think, this is what, like Omer talked about UNESCO. You are a Salesforce customer, you are a CRM customer, Marketing Cloud, Service Cloud. We want those people to start deploying. IT service deployed in a separate org. We can migrate this from any existing legacy ITSM systems, but it comes with it. It uses Agentforce technology, it uses Data 360, it uses Mule. So we are using all the Salesforce products and properties to build this product.
All right. Well, that does it for our live Q&A. Muddu, Annie, Alex, thank you so much for joining us here today. And we'd like to say a big thanks to everyone watching. You have been watching Go Beyond ITSM with Agentforce IT Service. If you want to chat with someone to see how Agentforce IT Service can help your business, just scan the QR code on screen. We have IT specialists waiting to talk to you. You could also visit sforce.co/IT service. And that info is also in the chat for you. And in even more exciting news, we're going to Vegas. That's right. Salesforce is headed to the ITSM event of the year, Pink 26, in Vegas, February 16th through 19th. So if you're there, come by and check us out at booth 40. But before we go, we would love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this event, so just take the short survey on your Salesforce Plus experience. It doesn't take very long. Just scan that QR code on your screen or click the button in the chat below. Your feedback really does matter to us. And now, it's time for an exclusive hands-on training. You're going to learn step-by-step how to set up your own AI agents for employees and IT teams in our virtual interactive workshop. Discover how AI, automation, and Slack make support easier than ever. So go ahead, take a quick break, grab a water, a snack, whatever you need, and we're going to see you right back here on Salesforce Plus in just 2 minutes.
Welcome to today's virtual hands-on training. Before we dive in, let's make sure you're set up for success. Experts are standing by in the chat to answer any questions you might have in real time, so you'll have support every step of the way. Make sure to check the Feed tab for pinned messages. That's where you'll find your org code and exercise guide. You'll need those for today's training. And we have an exciting new feature. Now you can pause the live stream. So if you need to catch up on something or you missed a step, go ahead and hit that pause button. You can rewind, review, then catch up to the live feed by clicking the live button. The best part, even if you've paused and gone back a few minutes, the chat remains live and current, so you won't miss any real-time support from our experts. It's the perfect way to learn at your own pace